An absolute legend, Hall of Famer, ladies and gentlemen, head coach of the West Virginia Mountaineers, Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rod.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I have never had a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty called against me. Never, never in 40 years. I've deserved a lot, but I never had one. I don't know what the hell happened, but I got lucky.
I think it's because you're working them, Hey, that's a good call early. That's a good call early. You got to work them a little bit. Obviously, every advantage is there. Let's talk about your team this year. Stanford Steve just put out this morning his projections for the Big 12. West Virginia in the Big 12 title game. Now, yeah,
you know what we're doing that, man. We're trying to run a sneak attack here. We got one returning starter. I'm hoping to get a first down. I'm hoping nobody gets hurt, and we shake hands afterwards and wish each other well and all that kind of stuff. And now he's going to come out and make some bold predictions. Wow, we got to live up to that.
Is that your first time seeing that? Right there?
Yeah, are you kidding me? What was it? Was this late last night or was this?
I think it was this morning. Stanford Steve put it out there. So maybe the boys in the locker room haven't seen it.
Well, I've always thought a lot of him, and he's really, really smart. So I hope he.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Stanford. It's a big brain guy, obviously, naturally. But I think what he sees is you bring in Coach Trickett back to coach the offensive line. You got some studs in there that maybe in years past we hadn't been able to get. We have a quarterback seemingly that's electrifying. It does feel like vibes are high. Then I hear you talking after practice, and you go, soft, these young guys fucking pillow fighting out here. I'm sick of it. It's disgusting. I hear that. I hear it all. Is that what you say every training camp? Feels like yes. But where do you think the West Virginia Mountaineers are right now versus maybe last year?
Well, I definitely think if we played last year's team, I think we would beat them for sure. But the biggest difference is even though we only have one or two returning starters, kind of like last year, we only have one or two returning starters from our team. We intentionally tried to find guys, whether from Group of 5 or Group of 6 or 1AA or whatever, guys that had proven production at other places, and so they had experience, just not experience in our system. And I really like the way it fit. We went from 0 offensive linemen that had started games to having 7 or 8 that have started multiple games in their career, and that was kind of the same in every position. We went out and wanted one transfer quarterback to compete with Scotty Fox and Mike Hawkins, and he's been everything we thought he would be. And defensively, we got a bunch of no names, but our Coach Alley and our defensive staff have done a great job putting them together. It's still going to be a work in progress a little bit at times, but I like our athleticism. I like the way they're practicing, and I think we'll be a little bit better than most of the pundits expect, other than Stanford Steve. He's already got us up there.
Yeah, Stanford Steve's really gassing you guys up, okay? The boys in the locker room, obviously dogs only, which goes to your point there about who you brought in. I think it's 4,000 snaps on the offensive line, 13,000 snaps in total that you bring in. So obviously we saw Signetti do similar things whenever he went into Indiana, which leads to Connor's question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Rod, a bunch of new guys, but do you feel like going into year 2, your kind of culture as a whole is established? People know exactly what they're getting into. The guys on the team know what they're getting into and what everything's about and what you expect out of every single person every single day?
Yeah, good question. Like, even though, we had 75, 80 new guys, there's still about 25 or 30 that were with us last year and kind of help explain the culture. Not only that, but the staff. We have a few new coaches, but everybody around the programs understands the way we want to do things. And not that we're reinventing the wheel or doing something so unique, but there is a certain way, and Pat knows this, how we practice, our expectations, and the type of hard edge that we expect everybody in our program to deal with. And that's not normal. Everything nowadays tends to be soft. That everything wants everybody to be soft. How can I make it easy for you? And that's understand. Every parent wants things easier for their kids than they had for themselves, right? Well, we try to teach our guys, we're going to make it harder for you. So you learn to be harder, to learn how to work a little bit extra. So that'll carry with you for the rest of your life, and it'll carry in our program. And I think it's setting in. We'll find out as the results in the next year or so. But, the harder edge, that we're trying to get is maybe a little more difficult nowadays than it was in the Pat McAfee days when he's playing for me. But I still think it's possible. And I'll continue to do that as long as I'm coaching.
You got to get the right guys, but it does feel like we have the right type of guys in there in this era, in this generation. After talking to the team, getting a chance to be back in there and kind of feel the lads, see what's going on, it does feel like you got dogs in there, a lot more than I'd seen potentially in the past. And I told them what you just said right there. I'm like, I went to Hard Edge University, okay? I went to WVU. Yes, I showed up at tests. Okay, I did. I showed up at tests at WVU. The rest of the time is going to be tough to find me. Did have a good time downtown, probably a little bit too much, but I feel like we built team chemistry out there, okay?
Yeah, a lot of bonding nights at Pat McAfee's house.
Yeah, bingo, yes, exactly.
Later after the fact, but that's good.
For the good of the team, obviously, that's what we have. Hey, listen, I heard 5 different stories from last night. They all started at your fucking house, okay? So I need to know whatever happened, okay? So hilarious, but I did go to Hard Edge University, and I carry a lot of the things that you taught us and me through every day of my life. I think that's a big deal for this modern generation. And I think you got guys in there that don't mind it, that they kind of like it. And I think they understand the benefit of that while also getting paid, while also having a chance to go to the CFP. I mean, we're in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. There's a path to the college football playoff and win the entire national championship. It's a good place to be. I think it's a good thing, not a bad thing, that you're a little bit different than maybe some others, Rich.
Yeah, and I think once they get to experience it, they like it, because nobody's immune to being coached. People have asked me, say, how do you coach them now that they're getting paid? I'm like, hell, you could coach them harder that they're getting paid. They got more to lose. But the good players, and AJ and everybody knows this, the good players want to be coached. But you got to know what you're talking about. And once the players know that you know what you're talking about and that everybody gets coached, everybody it has to go by the same kind of rules, they have a certain respect for each other. And I think it's harder nowadays maybe to build a team chemistry because you don't have everybody there for 4 or 5 years. So you still got to have ways for people to kind of bond. I always thought the people that go through hard stuff together makes them bond. That's why Rick Trickett is such a great online coach. They go through hard stuff together, and it helps bond them. We want our whole team to experience that kind of result.
Yeah, tour duty certainly did that. Summer workouts certainly did that. I mean, practice just on Wednesday. Let's go back. Started over, period 1. One of my favorite moves you've ever done. They had him mic'd up. Okay, they had Coach Rod mic'd up for a practice, and it was awesome. Okay, as players' perspective, it was awesome that he was mic'd up during practice. Okay, and that, Rich, now that you and I know each other a lot more at this stage of your life, you could tell how happy I was that you were mic'd up for a fucking practice, at least the beginning of practice. Okay, that's when special teams is and everything. Mic goes off, let's say period 4 or 5. Period 4 or 5, mic goes off. They kind of go. Him coming back and going, you think? Yeah, that's what you guys, from the top, horn starts. We go it was the greatest, it was the most entertaining, but also it was like an expectation and accountability from you that was every day. It was constant, man. It was the amount of energy that you have to kind of spend to do that is very abnormal. So I and everybody else that's ever played for you appreciate it, but it is a standard that's very hard to keep up with, I would say. And you know that, I think, now at this point.
Yeah, and everybody looks at, like even though I got a lot of really good coaches, but everybody kind of maybe evaluates the film a little bit differently. I said, I'm going to be the effort coach all the time, and my standard of playing hard is probably a little bit higher than yours. So I want your coaches' playing hard standard to be the same as mine. I want the players all to be the same. And sometimes they don't even realize it. Players, they don't think they're loafing when they are loafing. And, there were times last year where it's like, golly, it almost made me want to puke, that they didn't even realize they were loafing. And so that every year, that's going to get a little bit better. But I don't have the patience to wait another year or two. Hell, we got to get it done now.
Amen.
So, coaching effort. People say you shouldn't have to coach effort at this level, whatever. You still do. I still think that's part of what we do, and probably it's the most important thing that we do as coaches every day with our guys.
AJ has the last question for you here, Coach.
Yes, Coach, a follow-up on that effort situation. Do you show them clips of maybe how it's done from teams in the past? How do you coach? I think that as a person that coaches young kids and helping out coach different football teams, you assume everybody knows how to play hard, but they don't. You kind of have to show them the standard.
Yeah, I like to show them some of our current players when they do that. Unfortunately, I'll probably show it more times when they don't do it.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to point out examples, say, do you think you're playing hard? Because sometimes guys don't even realize it. So I probably need to be more positive than I am, but because the negative kind of stands out to me, and I want to get that corrected right away. And because I took a whole meeting yesterday and showed 20 of the dumbest plays in the history of college football. like guys dropping a ball before they cross the end zone or loafing and costing a play, whatever. But I probably could be more positive. But right now, I'm positive that we'll get our ass kicked if we don't play better. So
you're the best. You're the absolute best. You with the laser pointer at the end of a Cowboy is that's when you know you're in for it. That's when you know, hey, somebody's about to get it right now. And nobody knows who. Because like you said, everybody's getting coached. The standard is the standard. I'm excited for you. Now, actually, Tone has a quick question for you here, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, it's the question everybody wants to know. When are you going to make your decision on Michael Hawkins Jr. or Scotty Fox? You're the quarterbacks that you talked about. Are you going to use the first 2 games against the non-Power 4 guys? Are they going to get both playing time in that one, or is it a decision you want to make before the season starts?
No, I'll know. I'll probably know right now. But I think our first game's at noon. I'll probably let everybody know at 11:59. Why the hell I got to tell everybody? Well, I'll let the kids know for sure. But and their players, most people in the program will probably know, leading up to a game week. But I don't think about that. I just want to make sure whoever's out there is playing well.
And we're trying to get first down.
Yep.
Trying to get a first down, Pat. Tone, you guys know that.
Hey, man, you're the best. Good luck. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. The head coach of West Virginia, Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah, Coach.